You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning, and welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenoff coming to you live from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. Call or text at 855-752-4842 or leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. Hello, live stream, and all the recombobulators on the live stream. Leave a comment on the live stream if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. He joins us every Friday at this time for some recombobulation. He is also Civic Media's political editor. Dan Schaefer is here. Good morning. Thanks for coming in.
I am here. Always wonderful to join you here on Matt Nair on Air. And see you all here in person.
I know.
In studio.
Alive.
At Radio Park in Racine.
It's really been nice having you come into studio. Having people come into studio, period, is wonderful.
Yeah.
Because far less technical hiccups can happen. But
That's
also,
very
it's just,
true.
I feel like the energy is always better when you just have everyone vibing like jazz. It's like the stories we don't talk about. That's what you got to talk about.
Sure, Greg.
Okay.
Sure.
Yes. Fine.
I had coffee.
Let's talk about the recombobulation area. Let's talk about Tom Tiffany.
We'll talk about Tom Tiffany. We'll talk about a wild week in the Republican primary for governor. There's a lot to get into there. But I think the headline of the week in Wisconsin politics is that Tom Tiffany, the 7th District Congressman, has made it official. He is running for governor.
Which isn't a surprise.
Not a surprise. He's been
out
kind
shaking
of running
he's been
for
out
the last
shaking
couple
hands
months.
at State Fair and all over the place. So
Can I ask a question, though, about timeline? If I'm not mistaken, wasn't there supposed to be an announcement? Like, there was a big thing about Wednesday, but he announced on Tuesday.
So they had an event Wednesday, the actual, he had an event in Wausau at this facility, but he broke the news on Tuesday afternoon on the Dan O'Donnell show.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Gotcha. Okay. Man, I wish we could have gotten that exclusive.
well,
next time.
And you feel that he's going to be the front runner.
I do. I think
he's got the name recognition.
Well, I think he walks into this race as the front runner for a couple of reasons, and I do think he is going to be the eventual Republican nominee for governor. I think he is a Trump endorsement and a strong fundraising quarter away from clearing the field, I think, really.
Well, but Tony Weed has endorsed him, which is like being Trump adjacent.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't gotten Trump's endorsement yet. But
yes.
He will.
It's like the transitive property of endorsements.
Yes.
Trump endorsed Weed endorsed Tiffany.
It's the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, only just sad.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Sad 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon aside here. Tom Tiffany, I think part of it, too, is just the fact that this is a pretty lackluster field for the Republicans. And I think, we talked about it back when I had my column about Tony Evers. I think the Democratic bench is a strong one. I think there are a lot of good candidates who have already announced, many who are considering announcing, whatever. But I think on the Republican side, there's not a strong candidate who has put themselves forward. Josh Schoeman was the first out of the gate. He announced in May. I think it's significant that he has not picked up a single endorsement from anyone in the state legislature or any significant Republican names. Tiffany announces this week he gets the endorsement of the college Republicans.
Right
he gets
away.
the endorsement from Tony Weed. At least there's something, I know how these campaigns work. They want to play up the endorsement, make it a story, do it all of those different kinds of things. Schoeman's been on the road for almost 6 months now, campaigning in this, and he hasn't picked up any significant endorsements at all. So young guy working hard, whatever. I don't think he has a particularly strong record to run on. He hasn't picked up a lot of support. I think there's a reason people were looking for somebody else to announce.
And I think also they don't write about him unless they're writing about the whole field and the whole race. He's not done anything that's really brought the news to him.
Right. He hasn't put out some sort of bold agenda for Wisconsin or anything like that. He's just hey, I'm a younger guy and have had this job in Washington County and here I am. Good for him. Putting your hat into the ring and running in a statewide race takes a lot. But he hasn't really picked up steam. He got his name out there, is what it is. Yeah. I don't think he's going to be the nominee.
Yeah. Todd Alby had a chance to talk to him when he was traveling around the state. And Todd, at least from his perspective, thought that he was a pretty strong candidate.
Yeah.
But again, he lacks the name recognition. He doesn't have much of a record to run on. Although that brings me to my question. What is Tom Tiffany's fabulous record that he's going to run on? That he stood next to the Blotnick Bridge with the infrastructure repair bill that was passed by Joe Biden that he didn't vote for?
Jane,
I mean, what does he have to come forward and say? Look what I did for you, Wisconsin.
He likes Trump. Done.
That's
Moving
all he
on.
needs.
That's all.
Yep. He's a strong Trump ally. You know, he's been elected as a congressman 3 times. He was in the state Senate for a while before that, assembly briefly before that. So he has, you know, strong ties to state government. He understands how the process works.
Yeah, he's been there a long time. He should have a record of accomplishments.
Exactly. Well, and I think, you know, I mentioned this when I was talking with Todd yesterday as well. He authored a bill that was, you know, kind of like stripping some environmental regulations when they were talking about putting a mine in northern Wisconsin. He was one of the, you know, kind of the lead legislators behind some of those efforts. I think there are a number of things on education in Wisconsin from the Walker era that he was, you know, very much a part of that will be scrutinized. You know, he went further than any Wisconsin congressman did in 2020 to try to overturn the election results.
Right.
Like Tiffany's case to be governor, it is not a crossover appeal candidate, right?
By
It is
any
not
stretch.
a moderate bring
No.
people together
No.
to the center. It is an activate the base. It is the you know, play to try to get as many people who voted for Donald Trump in 2024 to come out and vote for Tom Tiffany in 2026. That's the play for him, because, and I also think there's like this whole, you know, geographic shift occurring if he were to be the nominee too, because the stronghold in Wisconsin for Republicans for so long was the Wow counties.
Yep.
The 3, you know, deep red counties around Milwaukee that have becoming much more purple over the last decade. And I think it is interesting to think about how, you know, okay, Josh Schoeman coming from Washington County. We've had Brad Schimmel was from Waukesha County. We've had a lot of Scott Walker from that area too. And so I think we've had a lot of Republicans from that area who have lost. And I think this is a sign that the center of power for Republican politics in Wisconsin is moving away from the suburbs and is becoming a more of a rural, ex-urban Northwoods party.
If you're just joining us on Matt and Aaron Air, we're speaking to Civic Media's political editor and founder of the Recombobulation area, Mr. Dan Schaefer. And we're talking about his newest article in the Recombobulation area, talking about the candidacy of one Tom Tiffany, who is running for governor of Wisconsin as a GOP candidate in 2026. And there's 2 things for me. If I'm a campaigner, if I'm on the left, I'm going to simply say, whether he was in the State House or Capitol Hill, Tom Tiffany has never had Wisconsin in mind. For his voting record shows that. But also the question I have is, you know, he's trying to push the narrative now, like he's on farm gear, he's next to cows, he's using.
I know how to shovel a barn.
He's using manure puns to point out the badness of everybody else. I
didn't mind that actually.
But the thing is like, you know, yes. Wisconsin voted for Trump in 2024 and 2016. He lost in 2020. And but the 2 most major races in Wisconsin, both for state's Supreme Court, showed a different Wisconsin on the face.
Yeah.
Like it really, like it was a definite switch. And the thing is, it'd be one thing if it was Trump and then nothing but blue, but it was Trump, blue, Trump, blue.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question is, will Wisconsin stand up the same way they did in this year or in 2022, or will it be 2016 and 2020 or 2024? Because I feel like when it's a Wisconsin state race, the minds are different there. There's a different consideration to the candidate themselves. And I feel like Tom Tiffany, because he doesn't have a ton of charisma, in my opinion, and he doesn't come with a lot of record, he's going to have to push the Trump narrative. And that may push people away.
Well, again, if economically things continue the way they are, tying yourself to Trump may not be the big win that everybody thinks it is.
It may not be, and you know he was a vote in favor of the one big beautiful bill.
Of course he was.
Slashed the safety net in this country in many ways while increasing spending. Don't get a lot of bills that do both of those things, and also I think it is really interesting that so Democratic Party of Wisconsin already put out an attack ad on Tiffany, and the focus of that attack ad was the issue of tariffs. There's a lot of different things you could go at Tom Tiffany on. You could go on abortion rights. You could go on various different economic issues, what have you. They went with tariffs, and I think that's interesting. And I think tariffs is going to be I think we're going to see a lot of different candidates have that focus in the midterms, because I think, that is one of those things that people looked to Trump as, okay, let's go back to the, pre-2020, before inflation, before this, we'll get costs down, whatever.
Day
the
one.
Tariffs have not done that. They have not made prices go down in any way. Prices are continuing to go up. Tariffs are hurting our economy in Wisconsin. You guys talked about it earlier in the show with soybeans and the issue with farmers there. Actually, Rebecca Cook put out a press release saying that soybeans should be exempted from tariffs, which I thought was pretty interesting this week. But I think the fact that they have focused on tariffs as the issue, and Marquette University did some polling earlier this year on tariffs in Wisconsin. Only about 30% of Wisconsin voters say that tariffs help the economy. And so I think you're going to see this be an issue in the midterms for Democrats, saying like the tariffs are bad for the economy. It's a pretty simple case to be made. Like, we can all see what's happening in front of us right now. I guess I'm glad it did some kitchen remodeling before this happened.
Got the bathroom done. Yeah.
But I think that is going to be, and I saw some of the, outside special interest groups like do lists of like, these are the things that are wrong with Tom Tiffany. Tariffs was near the top of the list for that too. And I think tariffs is going to emerge as a major attack ad spot for Wisconsin Democrats in the midterms.
I would also just like to remind folks that Tom Tiffany, when they talked about turning the Apostle Islands into a national park, that's because he wants to mine one of the islands.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah.
It's not because he's such an environmentalist. It's not, that has nothing to do with that. It's about, let's strip mine it. Come on.
Well, I want to ask you both was there?
There's a text I want to share.
Yeah, go ahead.
Jake in Madison listening on WXCO. Why be high-minded? Tom Tiffany is a complete moron who has a load of tape of being a fool on Capitol Hill, along with voting for every Walker policy that people hated.
Yeah.
And yes, no Senate or governor race on the ballot is a big negative for the Wisconsin Republicans. Fox will ignore the governor's race. Thanks, Jake, for checking in.
And that's the question. Another Wisconsin state politics question I want to ask both of you. I feel, and I think it's safe to say that in 2024, during the presidential election, Democrats failed to really grasp the economy as an issue that was applicable to the people. I did as well. I was trying to push this grander idea when I wasn't talking about kitchen table politics, and that was my failure. Is this a chance for Wisconsin, Devin Remacher and the Wisconsin Democratic Party to, in putting out a statement about tariffs, that's very, very intentional. Is this their chance to finally try to craft a message that talks about the economy that's A, very truthful, B, not mind-numbingly boring through explanation and detail,
right,
and C, appetizing to the voter of all stripes?
I think you're onto something there.
Okay.
And I think there's opportunity to strike a real economic message right now.
Yeah.
And there's things tied to the bill, the big ugly bill. There's things tied to tariffs. There's things tied to all sorts of, you could call it corrupt activity happening in the White House.
It's corruption. It's corruption palooza. Come on.
Allegedly.
And
it's
so
a festival of
there is,
corruption.
the scene from the inauguration with all the tech billionaire CEOs there with Trump as well. Like, there is an economic case to be made, an economic populism type of case to be made that I think we can and should see in the months ahead.
We're going to continue our conversation with Dan Schaefer, Recombobulation Area author, Civic Media's political editor. Join the conversation at 855-752-4842. Stay close. You are listening to Matt and Air on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matt and Air on Air. Jane Matt and Air, Greg Bach. Resident young person Calvin on the board, coming to you live from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up after the 10:30 news, a segment that we call Audio Sorbet, where we take a breath and lighten things up and get away from the news.
We clean your ears with fun.
Thank you. Today's Audio Sorbet, since Doors Open in Milwaukee is happening tomorrow, which is a great event.
Love it.
If you have never taken part, you should. And we're going to include the link in our show notes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's an opportunity if you live in Milwaukee or the Milwaukee area to get into buildings that normally you can't get into.
If you're not skilled enough.
So our audio sorbet question is, if you could get into any building in the country, what building would it be?
In the country.
In the country.
In the country.
And I'm going to
Yes.
say, like, we're going to, like, don't say Fort Knox. Let's,
Hey, you can say Fort Knox.
well, okay, fine.
If
I feel
that's
like
your thing.
there's, but then I feel like, yeah, put your tin hat on. You'd be like, I got to find all the gold.
the CIA vault in Langley, so I can drop down like Mission Impossible.
Oh,
Area 51.
There we go.
Where, if you had the opportunity to get in any building in the United States, what building would it be?
Mm-hmm.
That's our question for Audio Sorbet coming up after the 10:30 news.
And I'd love to see the people on the live stream. Let us know. When Dan's here, and thank you, Dan. Dan always gives us the Schaefer bump. We see a lot of people watching, and we appreciate
a lot of people join on the stream
But I
when
want
you're
to
here.
hear from you. Where would you go if you could get in a building anywhere in the United States, the world? Heck, if you think there's buildings on Mars. I want to hear from them.
Yeah, absolutely. So join us after 10:30 for Audio Sorbet. And then we end the show as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today it is the Mayonnaising edition. Stay tuned for that. Before the break, we were talking about Tom Tiffany and the Republicans who are running for governor here in Wisconsin. We don't have a lot of time left. We didn't mention Bill Berrien at all.
We got to mention Bill Berrien
We
a
do.
little bit here. He's had a tough week.
It's
Mr.
not
Berrien.
been a smooth week.
Has been a great week. So the headline early in the week was GOP Gov candidate Bill Berrien scrubs links to sexually explicit social media accounts.
whole bunch of them.
Whole bunch of them. Sounds like he had an account on Medium. He was following a number of people, including a transgender porn star who we decided during the break I cannot say their name
I
on the air.
prefer that you didn't.
And and then the follow-up story in today's Milwaukee Journal Sentinel from Dan Bice, trans porn star rips GOP governor candidate Bill Berrien for, quote, hypocrisy over X-rated web links.
Well, again, just to put this into context, Bill Berrien is a family values guy.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
He made anti-trans positioning crucial to his message running for governor. He put that in his first campaign ad.
So was he following these accounts so he could become educated?
Doesn't seem that way.
No. I'm
maybe.
trying to help out here.
You know what? What he does in his own time is his own business.
That's true.
You know what? That's a very okay. Go on. Yeah. Okay. You were.
I will say what he does on his own time is his own business and is not. But when he is making a core message from his campaign that he is a family values Republican and he is staking out these explicitly anti-trans positions, that becomes a problem. Then he is a hypocrite. Then he is deriding something that, I don't even want to get into whatever the rest with it. But I think, for one, not going to help him in a Republican primary.
No.
I don't think
No.
at all.
Although the apologizing on his behalf on the right is
Yeah.
pretty astonishing.
Oh yeah.
I
It
know.
really is pretty amazing. I follow some accounts on Twitter that are very far right, and they're like, I don't care who he follows in his personal time. If this were a Democratic candidate, it would be an entirely different
Oh, it
matter.
would.
An entirely different matter.
I know which account you're talking about, and the words were, "I will not contribute to the destruction of a person," but yet they have no problem contributing to the destruction of Dan Bice, the author of this article talking about the hypocrisy. And you're right. That's what I was going to say, Dan. You said it perfectly. And there's no version of the GOP in this universe. I believe in the multiverse, but not in this universe. Does there exist a GOP that could just relax it a little bit? Like, look, do what you want.
In
Live
your
life.
personal time.
Exactly. You can't. It would make it so much easier for them because we're always seeing them get caught red-handed. And I'm not even talking about the criminal aspect of it all when they're getting busted for horrific crimes. I'm talking about stuff like this. Like, dude, yeah, you like some stuff that's a little spicier. Go live your life. But when you make it your platform that it's the devil, you can't. Sorry, you don't. You're not brand loyal now.
Well, and it's tough when it seems like the Republican Party can't stop inserting themselves into our personal lives, which is what they want to legislate.
And they
personal
always
lives.
talk about we need to keep government out of people's lives, and then in every social and cultural issue, they have to get into the mix on everything instead of just letting people live their
Yes.
lives. My goodness,
Yes.
just let people be.
Yeah, if you don't want to do that, no one's making you.
No.
Yeah.
No one's making you.
It's so much easier. I will say this from personal experience. It's so much more stress-free when I don't have to not only worry about other people's behavior, but also worry about telling them that their behavior is wrong.
Or policing their behavior, right?
I feel like I sleep way better not having to worry about the decisions of adults.
So, but from a political standpoint, one last point to make here before the break. There was a story out yesterday from WBAY with the headline, Governor candidate Bill Berrien cancels GOP event appearance in Manitowoc.
Yep.
And I will read one passage from that story. The county, so a few minutes before, they basically announced to the room that Berrien would not be showing up. And then the story says, the county chair then made the announcement to the crowd inside the shelter, and some people applauded.
That he didn't show up?
That he didn't show up.
That's not a good sign.
Tough scene.
Yeah, that's
tough
not,
scene.
That's not so good.
I don't think Bill Berrien's campaign is lasting much longer.
We have news coming up next. By the way, a shout out to Romeo 16 on the live stream from Toronto.
Hey, bud.
Thank you for listening in Toronto, Romeo. News coming up next, and then audio sorbet. What building in the country, if you could get inside, would you take advantage of it? Where would you go? That's all on the way. Stay with us. You are listening to Matt Nair on air on the vast, statewide, countrywide. Pick us up in Toronto on the app, the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back. Good morning and welcome back to Matt Nair on air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, our one and only Calzone on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment on the live stream if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Brewers in action later on today. Greg Bach will be there.
Come say hi. I'm the guy who looks like me.
Brewers hosting Cincinnati. Our broadcast starts at 6:35. You cannot listen to the game on the stream. You have to listen on terrestrial radio, but catch the game on WRCE in Richland Center, WISS in Oshkosh, WCQM in Park Falls, and our newest Milwaukee Brewers affiliate, WBZH in beautiful Hayward.
Hi, Mark Lundeen.
Hello, Mark. 6:35, our broadcast starts tonight as the Brewers host Cincinnati, so check that out a little bit later on. This is the portion of the show that we call Audio Sorbet, where we like to take a breath, get away from the news, and just relax for a little bit, have some laughs.
Audio Sorbet. We clean your ears with fun.
We're going to have a new open for that, an official open.
Yeah, I wonder if there's anyone who can do it better, though.
I think you do a great job.
Okay.
It's great. You've come up with an accent that is completely indecipherable. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, it's
We'll put a little reverb on it.
it's
Yeah.
East
Fabulous.
Coast-ish.
Yes, that's a good way to describe it. So our topic today for Audio Sorbet, tomorrow in Milwaukee, and I highly encourage you to check it out if you have never done so. It's called Doors Open Milwaukee, and it is an opportunity for folks to get inside buildings that normally are off limits to the public. It's really a really cool event.
It really is. They started doing this I don't know,
15
maybe
years ago.
15 years ago that they've been doing this in Milwaukee.
Yep.
It's really fun. It's a good family experience too, because you can bring the kids and go to these old buildings and kind of wander around and explore a little bit.
Well, and you get in like you can get backstage in some places.
That's right,
In
yeah.
the basements of some places.
It's very cool.
It is
It's
cool.
really fun.
We have
And there's a huge long list of places that you can explore there if you go to the Doors Open Milwaukee website. I was just pulling it up here during the break. There are 165 different places on the list here for the Doors Open list for places you can check out. So really a wonderful event all the way around.
And I just think it's a great way to appreciate what's in southeastern Wisconsin.
Yeah,
it really is. I mean, there are some we have some of the greatest architecture in the country.
We really do.
Yep.
Some really phenomenal buildings, and it's go check them out.
So we will include the link to that article in our show notes. So if you want to check out Doors Open Milwaukee tomorrow, then that will include the whole list of places that you can get into. Some of them I think you had to sign up for already, but again, lots of places you can get in for free tomorrow, so check that out.
And Sunday. Yep.
And Sunday.
Sunday as
yep.
well. Yep.
So that led us to our audio sorbet question for today. If you could get into any building in the country, what building would it be? 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Brett from Brown Deer texted in way early because he wanted to get in on this. If I could get into any building, I would pick Bill Murray's house.
Boy, that felt very invasive all of a sudden. Like, just,
Hey,
I'm here.
It's wide open. Why not?
Honestly, he kind of seems like the type of individual who, if they said, I'd love to see your house, he'd be like, come over today at noon.
Yeah.
He would or wouldn't. Like, there's no, like, I could see him doing, he's done really quirky things.
And quirky, nice things and kind of quirky, crabby things.
Oh, yeah, he's a weirdo.
He seems really grouchy.
He's a weirdo. He's a pure weirdo. And people, there was that time, like, I would feel like the 20 teens, there was just a little too much Bill Murray worshiping happening. Yeah.
There was after that Zombieland
that was great.
Cameo.
Oh my
I think
that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he would have to not be home because I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like, can you not follow me?
Well, yeah, can you get out of your house so I can go peek around your house?
A different approach here for the Doors Open Milwaukee question for that one. Just like, which is my favorite celebrity and I'm going to their house.
And I want to snoop in their house. Why not? It's wide open. If you could get into any building in the country, a Doors Open U.S.,
yeah.
what would the building be? 855-752-4842. Leave a comment on the live stream. John from West Bend texting in, listening on WAUK. I would get into the Hall of Records at Mount Rushmore.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
That's cool.
I didn't know there was such a thing at Mount Rushmore.
That's fascinating.
It is.
I like that answer.
Ronnie
It's a good one.
Ronnie from Horicon says, I would like to get into this torch on the Statue of Liberty, which has been closed for 100 years.
Wow, that's a cool idea too. I went to the Statue of Liberty last year when I didn't go up though. I was there. I went to New York with my wife to celebrate our anniversary last year, and we went there. I'm not great with heights, so I didn't do the walk up with the Statue of Liberty.
She's pretty high.
Yeah, and it's not. It's like, if it's like in an elevator and I'm enclosed and like all of that, I'm fine. But the open air stuff, no, thank you.
Oh, tell me. Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I used to be fine with heights. I used to jump out of planes. Can't do that anymore.
You used to jump out of planes?
Yeah, I went skydiving 3 times.
It's great.
That's awesome.
It's really fun. You should do it. It's fun.
No, thank you. My wife has asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was just like, absolutely not. Why would I? I'm not great with heights to begin with. Why are you throwing me out of a plane?
You want to push me out of a plane? What are you telling me, honey?
The first time I went, I called my mom afterwards and said, hey, I just skydived for the first time and I have a DVD. I'll bring it over. She goes, thank you for telling me after. But yeah, but also really quick side note, and we'll get right back on track. You and your wife do the best trips. When you talk about the trips that you and your wife take, you do vacationing correctly.
You do it the right way.
Yeah, we love to travel.
I think that's important. And especially with 2 kids, I think a lot of parents will be like, we'll do it later. And no, I like
we get after it with traveling.
There you go.
Good for you.
Yeah.
If you could get into any building in the United States, Doors Open U.S., where would it be? 855-752-4842. Ollie from the Northwoods joining us on the line. Good morning, Ollie. Where would be your place?
Oh, I'd try Fort Knox.
There it is.
Just to see if there's any gold in there still or not.
Just go take a look around. Maybe take a couple sheets of $100 bills.
Well, just to find out if it hasn't been rampaged already.
Who got away with all our gold?
I feel like Calvin, I should have asked you for the X-Files theme song for this one.
Appreciate it, Ollie. Thank you. 855-752-4842. Doors Open U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Any building in the U.S., if you could get inside it, where would it be?
Yeah.
Greg Bach?
Can I do 2?
Sure.
Okay. First local, and this is going to be no surprise to anybody. It'd be the ballpark, the Brewers Stadium. I would love to run around. I mean, they do tours and they're great, but I would love to run around there for you need a full day. You're like, all right, morning, we're starting the basement. We're working our way up and just run around the bases.
It's a big facility.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Just see all the memorabilia that's in the offices that we don't get to see.
Yeah.
And maybe sit at Mark Antonazio's desk and make a phone call saying, I'm selling the Brewers. And,
Sell.
But the other one would be, and this also is no surprise and pretty basic if you know me, is I would love unfettered access to the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, that's the Greg, the most Greg possible answer
Well,
there.
you're a big music fan.
I am. And I went there. I did their tour. It is absolutely amazing. That you get a lot of access too for that building. But I would also just like to sit in the dressing rooms. You can see them, but you can't go in them. I would stand on that stage and
just soak up the vibes.
Yep. And yeah, I would go there with unfettered access. Absolutely the Opry.
855-752-4842. Our question today for Audio Sorbet. If you could get into any building in the U.S., which one would you pick? This kind of is a companion along with Doors Open Milwaukee, which is happening tomorrow. You should go. It's fabulous. Liz from Saukville, listening on WAUK, says, I would like to get inside the UN Secretariat building in New York City.
Can I
Want to see if the elevators work? Is that the
Escalator.
escalator?
Be careful on those
I was so
escalators.
close
They're
to landing
deadly.
a good joke.
They're deadly.
Can I give you a little fun fact about Greg?
Sure.
In 2007, I did a month-long seminar through UW Milwaukee, go Panthers, where I had a quote-unquote a job at the UN with all my classmates, and we went there 5 days a week, and we met with various leaders, whether they were ambassadors, the high-up assistants, and I had a badge that got me into the building like an employee, and one of those rooms I could go into, I got to go to Security Council meetings.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I will say this. You know me, you know I love process. And I love a good law show, but it's incredibly boring because everything's done in the rooms outside of that big room.
Yeah.
All the deals are made. So when they're coming out, they're really just voting
It's
on these
already
things.
a done deal.
Yeah.
But when you
Yeah.
do it for the first time and they're voting on a package of aid bills to help Sierra Leone at the time because they were being ravaged by the warlords. Even though it was just about voting yes and that was it, it was still one of the most amazing experiences of my life.
I believe
to
it.
walk. And that actually goes back to what I said before about Jesse Waters. It makes me even more angry because I met those people and it's bureaucracy of a global scale, but those individuals love what they do, and it was so much fun.
855-752-4842. Doors Open U.S. If you can get inside any building across the country, where would it be? Dan Schaefer.
I don't have a good answer for this, to be honest with you. I can't, like, off the top of my head. My brain is going to conspiracy theory stuff. Because I want to get, like, you mentioned, like, Area 51 or Fort Knox or, like, all these different stuff. I just want to know the real thing, get the real White House tour or or whatever else, like that kind of stuff. But can I share one Milwaukee-related Doors Open kind of adjacent story? Mm-hmm. So the Pabst Theater is one of the places that's usually on there. It's not on the list this year, so they must have shows this weekend going on. But at the Pabst Theater, I did this story about this guy who was the caretaker of the Pabst Theater for 40 years. I did this story when I was at Milwaukee Magazine. And so I got to go along with him, and I got to go above the chandelier in the Pabst Theater and walk. There are like these weird planks above it.
The catwalks.
Yeah, the catwalks up there from and he is up there all the time, like making sure things, and they do this thing once a year where they lower the chandelier and clean it. Yep. And they usually invite media in to do this whole thing. So it was like around that time. So I got to go above the chandelier in the Pabst Theater.
That's pretty cool.
So that was pretty cool. So like if there are those types of things in, famous historic buildings around the country to get really, really behind the scenes with like someone expert guide, to take you along with it, that would be super cool.
Calvin, what would yours be?
I didn't think I had a good idea, but for whatever reason, Bill Murray's house kind of sparked in me something adjacent to that sort of. It's not really a property, or it's not really a building. It's more of a property with multiple buildings, but Skywalker Ranch in California.
Ooh, that's a good
pretty
one.
good.
I think that would be
That's
pretty
the
cool.
George Lucas.
Yeah, George Lucas's movie production property.
There might be people who don't
There's
know
not
that.
another Skywalker Ranch.
There might be people who don't know that's
Okay,
George
fine.
Lucas.
They had a life. Fine. They didn't. Did you know that Skywalker Ranch has its own fire department? I know that because I have a Skywalker Ranch fire department patch, and it's like a regular fire department patch, but with the Millennium Falcon on it.
Listen to how excited
I have done so few things in my life.
Anybody else want to get in before we go to
What
break?
about-
855-752-4842.
Did you say one?
I didn't. Mine is very specific to me. One of my first jobs during high school, I worked at the gift shop at Holy Hill,
Oh, yeah.
outside of Hartford, outside of Erin. in southeastern Wisconsin. I worked at the
Beautiful.
gift shop at Cola Hill, and I was convinced even then that there are secret passageways in that building.
Oh.
I would want to get in to Holy Hill
Yeah.
and take a torch.
Doors
'Cause
open, Holy Hill.
Yes, I think there's secret. I have no basis for this. I think
Should we
there's
contact them? Should we try to get a behind the scenes tour for Jane?
Let's
do it.
Let's put in the
If
email.
anyone is listening who is involved
with Holy Hill. I'm sure they're listening. Yeah, let us
Why do you want to
know.
come here? We think there are ghosts.
All right, we're going to wrap it up when we return with This Shouldn't Be a Thing, Mayonnaising edition. Stay close. You are listening to Matt Nair on air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Good morning and welcome back to Matt Nair on air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Sweet Calby on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Just a reminder, our multi-state text to win Go for the Green and Gold contest today and all next week. And coming up in the 11 o'clock hour with Tom Hartman, he will have the next keyword for you. You have to enter it using the Civic Media app. So if you don't have it yet, go to your app store, look for Civic Media, download that. It is absolutely free. And then be ready for that keyword in the 11 o'clock hour, 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock with Todd, 5 o'clock with Maggie, 7 o'clock tonight with Pete Schwaba on Nightlight. All kinds of chances to win our daily prize. $200 in cash, gold jewelry, and then the grand prize, those great indoor seats to see Green Bay and Minnesota November 23rd at noon. So download the Civic Media app and get ready.
That's going to be a fun game to watch. And also
Right before Thanksgiving, what a great time to be there.
just also a thing too, because I saw this coming through on the text line last night and this morning. If you're hearing a show after Pete Schwaba, those are repeats. You can't enter on repeats.
Yeah,
So
no,
just so
sorry.
you're aware, you cannot enter the contest on repeat episodes. And know this, that once Pete's show is done, the contest is done for the day. We'll
Right.
be back with Pat the next morning or on Monday morning. But yeah, repeats, you cannot enter on repeats.
Just so you know.
Yep.
Coming up next week on Monday, Civic Media's news director, Shelly Pittman, will join us to give us a recap of the weekend news. And then our friend David Drake is going to be here. We had a little signal cross earlier in the week. David Drake from UW-Madison is going to join us to talk about PFAS in Wisconsin ducks.
Yeah.
And what that means.
Yeah.
So I hope you can join us coming up on Monday. Calvin, it is just about 10:55. It's getting late. That means it's time for
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
As always, if you have a thing you think should not be, send it in to Greg and me at janesays@civicmedia.us. This is from the Toronto Sun. Danette Wilford with the byline. Headline reads, Hellman's offers to save Spanish Cafe after alleged arson over mayonnaise.
Wait, this was in Canada?
The Toronto Sun reported
Oh.
it happened in Spain.
Oh my God.
A cafe owner in Spain is getting its business back on track thank you to Hellman's Mayonnaise after a disgruntled mayonnaise-demanding customer allegedly started a fire. Cafeteria La Postas in Seville.
Oh, she got the.
You like that? Took to Instagram to share their news. This afternoon, we suffered an attack in which a customer who was coming to our cafe asked us for a couple of packets of mayonnaise. They told him they didn't have any, so he quietly left. That was not the end. He stopped at a gas station right down the road, filled up a gas can, came back to the cafe, demanded mayonnaise. When told, no mayonnaise, no ketchup, he doused the counter and set it ablaze. That seems a little extreme,
I need to know more about this man's totally bad day
right?
because I don't know of. This is. I need to know what happens. Like this needs to be followed up on because You ask for condiments. They say no.
We don't have
you
them.
say, oh, well, thank you very much. I'll have a wonderful day. You press the door, the little bell dings, and you go on with your day. You're like reading your book or listening to the music. And then he comes back and asks again, and you're like, still don't have them.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, there must be punishment then. And look, I'm not saying every other country in the world is brand spanking amazing, but this does not feel like a Spain story. This feels like a Florida story.
It really does. No, this happens all over the world, Greg.
It happened in Florida, Spain.
Yeah, this is, I don't know if that's comforting or not, that it's not just happening here.
Nah.
Hellman's Mayonnaise, after hearing about the story posted on social media, Cafeteria La Postas, we're sorry we weren't there. From now on, count on us, says Hellman's. Let us take care of the repairs, and we will make sure your sandwiches never run out of mayonnaise again. The alleged arsonist suffered burns. No one else was hurt. He was restrained by bystanders and arrested.
Yeah.
He was ordered into custody without bail. I'm pretty sure in jail, they don't have mayonnaise either. I'm speculating.
They don't have Hellman's, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
They have like, just
It's
it's
a
just
Miracle
a
Whip?
packet. Ugh. A package that just says mayonnaise and it's got one S and you're like, oh, disgusting. I won't lie, and I want to know more about this guy. I feel like if your day goes so poorly or your life is not going well that this is your reaction to lack of mayonnaise, then
You think it's deeper than that?
yeah, I'm not a doctor, but I feel like, I hate to see his reaction to a massive inconvenience. Like, sorry, sir, we ran out of bread.
Don't
Yeah.
even tell him that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I want to know more.
Well, we'll see if we can find a follow-up. That wraps up today's episode of
This shouldn't be a thing.
Thank you, Greg and Calvin and all of our engineers and everyone at Civic Media. Without you, nothing works. By the way, congratulations, Max FM.
Yes.
They hit their goal over $5,000 yesterday. They requested Hunt for Hope House.
Yes.
Thank you to everybody who took part and donated. It was a wonderful thing to see happen.
Yes.
Thank you
You're welcome.
for calling and for texting and for listening and for watching on the stream. It really does mean the world. I hope you find some joy over the weekend, even if it's just a little bit, and you have the chance to share it. Keep it right here. We have news coming up next, followed by Tom Hartman on the Civic Media Radio Network. Have a good weekend. We will see you on Monday.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.